Welcome to DJM TV.
NLC don't call for warning strike across Nigeria.
Correct people, we greet you now. Welcome una to DJM TV on our WhatsApp channel where dey sama una with ogbonge updates, breaking news, updated updates. So abeg my people, if you never subscribe to our YouTube channel, make una rush now, make una go subscribe and also turn on that notification bell so that anytime we be like say we drop any update like this, una go dey notified. Our Facebook page, my people, make una follow us and make una dey like. Una do well. Anyway my people, make we quickly run enter the tori and update we will carry come for una like this.
Yes, so my people, no be news again say Nigeria Labour Congress dey for federal government next since over the increments and removal of fuel subsidy. They don first go on strike before they come begin do negotiation. All this negotiation no lead to anything. Even when Presido don announce say they give each state 5 billion, I mean 5 billion as palliative, the thing no go down well with the NLC dem because this whole thing e no dey work the way wey e suppose to work. Right now they don call for warning strike like this. So my people, I no go talk too much. I go play una this video now, make una listen from the chairman, the president of NLC, Nigeria Labour Congress. Make una hear wetin he talk about this strike wey they don plan to go on. So and I beg my people, make una no forget to like and share. Make una watch the video.
Does look like a new twist to the engagement between Labour and the federal government. Does it look like things are broken down between both parties in terms of the negotiation that you have entered into in the past weeks?
You will recall that after our nationwide protest, there were promises from the National Assembly that asked for 1 week. And after a meeting one-on-one with Mr. President, for him to restructure the team, negotiating for government. Between that time and now, no communication. So you can see that negotiation has not even commenced, talk less of, breaking down. So that's where we are. There's no communication. Nobody talks to us. There seems to be a monologue. We are talking to ourselves and they are talking to themselves. We can't continue this way 3 months after the removal of fuel subsidy and the excruciating effect of this policy to Nigerians.
So, I thought that there were supposed to be some consultations, some committees are supposed to meet and look at the way forward. Is it that they're not talking to you at all, or you just feel that there is a stalling on the side of the federal government?
There were committees set up at inception when we wanted to embark on a strike. The committees couldn't meet for almost 6 weeks when we started pressing on the issue for us to do a nationwide rally for Nigerians to know, that nothing is happening. So before that rally, there were attempts for the committee to hold meetings with us. In 2 very occasions, there was no seriousness attached to the meeting. And it was at that point that we asked that, the composition of the committee should be enhanced so that people who are not too busy with state matters, could take part in the committee, especially on part of the government. And it was on that basis that we equally met with the Senate President, we met with President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and between that time and now, nothing, no communication. That is the true situation.
Now, you have decided to go on a 2-day warning strike, but you have also hinted that there will be an indefinite strike action later in the month. This is in view of the court, the federal government going to the industrial court to stop the Nigerian labor from doing any of such.
Well, I don't think the matter has anything to do with court. The 2 days action are in 2 prongs. The first point there is the takeover of the National Secretariat of the National Union of Road Transport Employees by people, claiming that they have authority of the villa to take over the leadership. And to us in the trade union movement, it is unfortunate. It is even worse than, the queue in Niger. for you to violently use the police to take over, an elected government of an industrial union. And we have given the police 48 hours to pull out and allow the union to resolve their crisis, or the NLC, which is the umbrella union, or even other organs, Ministry of Labor, or all the organs set by law to take care of it and not the police. That is the first step. And the second step is towards the industrial action over the issue of refusal of the state to engage labor and to solve the problem and the continued suffering of Nigerian workers, to give it as a signal. We have given a long, notice up to the middle of, towards the third week of September, but towards that end, we have to give a signal, a warning signal, that after this period, we are going to embark on an action, and we're going to express that right, of a worker to wake up and say he will not go to work. It's a right that you can legislate into existence or out of existence, that people have the right to work or not to work. So we'll express it. From the way you are saying, we'll find out whether anybody who decides not to go to work will be arrested or will be imprisoned.
Well, let's look at it this way. Now, so with all what the federal government says it is doing, for example, 5 billion naira has been earmarked. The Minister of Finance today has said 2 billion out of that money has been disbursed already. Is the Labour okay with that arrangement? And they're saying more is to come.
What is that 5 billion naira for? Is it for what? Is it for... We don't have information when the federal government is giving allocation to state governments, on and on. So how does that concern us? The federal government continued allocation to states, whether it's 5 billion, whether it's 10 billion, how does that concern labor? Is there any agreement around that for what it is meant for?
One will imagine, Mr. Jairo, that your members are all over the country and they will benefit from the disbursement of this money.
How are they going to benefit? In a state where you have 3 million people, and you send 5 billion naira, do you think anybody can get 1,000 naira? I don't think we should be bothered with that calculation. It doesn't add water. Even if you have to take it to give it to the poor. And the National Bureau of Statistics have said that 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor in Nigeria. So and you calculate 185 billion and you release to them and give them maybe 1,300. Is that what you are talking? Is that how the Nigerian state looks at its citizens?
But look at it this way. So clarify for us. Is it that you do not trust the state government, or you think that that money that was earmarked is insufficient, or that the idea of the palliative is totally out of place? What exactly is the point of labor?
That money is not for us. We are negotiating with government. We are trying to look at the effects, of the subsidy removal. And we have not arrived on 5 billion for you to share 1,000 to people. If government is giving money to the state governors for them to share, that's not within the mandate we have in terms of negotiating with the Nigerian government or the committee they have set up. And you should be aware that almost on a monthly basis, government is sending money to state governments. So we should not bother ourselves with this issue of they gave state governors 5 billion. Is 5 billion for palliative? Is 5 billion for who? How around will 5 million go? Is it shared capitalism?
So Mr. Ajaro, from the labor point of view, that 5 billion is not non-issue. That 5 billion is out of place. Is that the stance of labor?
That 5 billion, we don't know what it's all about.
You do not agree with the 5 billion. You do not think that the federal government should disburse it at all.
The federal government and the governor discussed about the 5 billion and they have given to them. To us as labor, there was no conversation around 5 billion on what it is meant for. So we can't even pay any state governor that decides to fix it in a fixed deposit account.
So let me ask you, Mr. Ajaero, with what is on the ground right now as far as the palliative measures, subsidy regime, and what is the position of labor? Have you agreed that it's okay for the federal government to remove it? Are you on the same page with the federal government?
Well, you are in this country that there was no consultation around that, but federal government has removed it. So it's not a question of whether we agreed or not, because we never agreed to that. You know that any country should run without subsidizing the life of people in whatever guise, whether it is farmers, whether it is the energy or whatever. But they have done it. And when you do it, you don't reduce us to mere tokenism. Maybe you give us 10,000 for 3 months and leave people to die. You know, that's not the issue. You know, we have to sit down and look at some measures, you know, that will cushion the effect or that will substitute the suffering, you know, of Nigerians. So by the time you say you are giving state governors 5 billion, what does that translate to?
Mr. President.
DJ AP.